This is the Mac of all trades, the loudest mouth in the South, AC Mac, and you're watching Toilet Side Wrestling Talk.
Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Toilet Side Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where he's trained by Naja Viper. He's been wrestling since 2000, both Canada and the United States, for such promotions as Northern Championship Wrestling, North Shore Pro Wrestling, International Wrestling Syndicate, Battle War Pro Wrestling, Global Entertainment Wrestling, to name a few. He's the current Lutte 7 title holder. He's held the NCW TV title, the NCW Tag Team titles, the NCW Inner Cities title. He shared the ring with the likes of James Stone, Cobra, Bucks Belmar, Travis Toxic, Eddie Kingston, Pete Dunne, again to name a few. He was recently ranked number 415 in PWI's top 500 list. So please help me welcome not only a wrestler, but a business owner, I think, standing in at 6 feet tall, 2 inches, weighing in at 229 pounds. I give you Mr. Benjamin Tull. Hey, Benjamin, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me today. But
My
I
pleasure.
gotta say, 230 was probably like 7 years ago. So
What are you at now?
I'm about like 260 now. So.
Oh my God! Okay, so I undershot it a little bit.
I put on a little bit weight.
I did it all by eye. I didn't have any data to it.
well, it's nice to hearing this from you.
Yeah, you're rail thin on the internet.
That's
So do you own a bakery?
well,
Coffee
it
shop?
is a bake. Well, no, it's not a coffee shop. It's actually
Okay.
a bakery because we supply coffee shops and restaurants in Montreal with things that we call viennoiserie, which is basically like French buttery breads, like croissant or chocolatine, which is kind of a croissant with chocolate in it,
Okay.
and a couple of more stuff. I do scones. Cookies and stuff like that. So basically, I'm a supplier for businesses on Montreal. But with all the situation with the COVID and everything, we had to find another way to make money out of the thing. So right now, I offer the delivery at home, so you can basically do your orders. So we deliver it to your door the next morning. And I'm working on a product right now, which is ready to cook. Ready to bake, actually, because most of the time, if you want to have a good croissant, there's a way to do it, because you need to let it proof before you can actually bake it. But so we found a way to just proof it for you guys. We freeze it then, and then it's ready to bake for you guys. So it's a simpler way to have a good croissant at home.
Oh, it's just all you have to do is pop it in the oven and it's ready to go?
Yeah, that's it. You keep it in your freezer, and as soon as you're ready, you just preheat your oven.
Oh,
and,
wow.
In 30 minutes, you have a crispy golden brown.
Yeah,
croissant.
every morning. So this did this take up a ton of your time? Because I imagine supplying those kind of places is like a 7-day-a-week thing?
Yeah, but actually, I'm not a baker. I don't put my hands into the dough.
But you're the supplier, right?
Yeah, I'm the supplier, but we produce the products for sure. But I'm more of an accountant. So
Yeah, okay.
I'm more in the office to work on stuff. So I don't need to be there every morning. I used to deliver for the business at first, so that took a lot of my time. But with the wrestling and everything, it started to be really a lot, because I was basically waking up in the morning at 2 a.m. to go work, do my stuff, and basically I was on the road during the weekend to go wrestle. So after a while, I was pretty much fed up with it. So I had to find somebody to take my place on the deliveries. And since then, it's been better for sure. I'm sleeping a bit more.
That's important, so you don't lose your mind. And that's funny you say that, because I was looking at your matches over the last couple of years, excluding this year, obviously, but in 2018 and 2019, you worked an incredible, I think it was 50 and 67 matches in each year. Was that every weekend?
No, not really. It really got busy for me, in the last years, which is kind of funny, because I was wrestling, like you said, for NCW for most of my career time so far. So for 15 years, I was for the same federation that was putting on shows for every 2 weeks. And but when I decided to stop, I didn't have any offers on the table. I just thought to myself that I did what I had to do in NCW. I would stop from there. If I get like proposition on other federation, I would like consider it for sure. But for now, if nothing comes, I'll just make it the end there, and it's gonna be a 15 years of wrestling for me. But as soon as I like stop at my last match, the day after the phone started to ring, and I started with IWS, and then a bit later with NSPW in Quebec. But what was funny is that I had this discussion with my girlfriend saying, you know, we were working on having our first kid, and we were like, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's the right time now because I'm stopping NCW. I'll probably have more time at home and everything.
Sure.
But since then, I never wrestled as much as I did.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I got super busy because not even only in Quebec, I really got booked everywhere. Some people in Ontario started calling me with like C4 and Acclaim. I got even in Toronto, a Greek town calling me, and I got even in the Maritimes started to get some bookings. And when we go to the Maritime, it's about like a 12-hour drive from our places. So I'm on the road the whole weekend for sure.
Oh
So it was kind of funny that I thought it would be like a bit less busy and make sure I can concentrate on more of my other stuff in my life. But at the end of the day, I was like more busy than ever.
How did your girlfriend take this?
Well, I really have the best girlfriend in the world because she's
sounds
really
like
super comprehensive. And we actually met at a wrestling show. So she knew what the deal was from day one. And she knew that it was kind of a thing that was pretty important in my life. So she knew that we had to build everything in our life surrounding wrestling. So, but I knew like I wouldn't get to the pros and stuff, so I wouldn't like be as much into it as most of wrestlers that in the independent scene. But she knew that if we had to do like sacrifices and everything for it, I probably would have done it. So
is the baby on hold?
No, not at all. We actually have 2 kids now.
Oh my God! Oh, okay. So everyone got what they wanted then.
Yeah.
How old are your children?
At the end of the day, I have 2 daughters. One is 3 years old and a half, and I got 10 months.
Oh my God!
Baby girl.
You're at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're still in the diapers so far.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to Little Benjamin.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of wrestling growing up?
Well, absolutely. The first memories I have watching television is actually watching wrestling. I used to freak out over Ravishing Rick Rude, which was like one of my favorite, only by the character and the way you like work this crowd and everything. I didn't really understand what was happening in the ring back then. That's for sure. And since then, I've always been a fan. And but my parents put a lot of pressure on. They weren't fans at all. They never understood why I was like that much into wrestling. Is just something that was from myself. They were putting a lot of pressure on me to stay active, which probably every parent should do for kids. But I hated sports. Like I hated the competition that was in every sport that I tried. Like I used to play baseball, volleyball, and stuff like that. But I never been a fan. It was at a certain point stressing me out, thinking that I have to hate the other guy on the other side just because he's part of the other team. Like, was something working. It wasn't working for me, that's for sure. So I brought the idea because back then, if you wanted to do wrestling classes, the only one I knew was classes with Jacques Rougeau, which was like the only professional that Quebec had back then, basically. And but it was super expensive. Like we're talking thousands of dollars for a couple months. Yeah, it was.
Is it all up front? You have to pay it all up front?
I didn't went there like say I didn't ask for it pretty much because You got to understand another thing. My parents didn't think that I was like tough enough for wrestling, basically, because I was not the kind of kid who likes to fight every time, and if it was starting to be a bit too rugged, let's say, I was backing off every time and everything. So when I proposed, like, I wanted to start wrestling classes, they were like, yeah, okay, whatever, you'll do like one, maybe 2 classes, and then we'll be done. So they didn't want to pay the thousands of dollars, thinking that I wouldn't go through. So, but there was a wrestler going at my high school with me. He was a bit older, and he got into a project that he was gonna bring the guy who became my coach, Mark the Grizzly, to our high school to give, let's say, like 15 classes, but for a ridiculous price, like $30.
Okay.
So I came to my parents. I went to my parents and said, listen, here's the deal. I have 15 classes for $30. I'm pretty sure we'll never be able to find something cheaper. And at the end of the day, would be settled seeing if I like it or not. And they were like, well, okay. And
it's $30.
At the end of the day, it's still in your high school. So if something's happened, well, you'll be surrounded for sure.
Yeah.
So I went through it, and I never looked back after. So
how old were you when you had this conversation with your parents for the $30?
14 years old.
14 years old. Oh my.
Yeah.
So did you finish like high school, and then like was there a certain age before you could have your first match?
Well, back then the politics, the rules were because Mark was known for the NCW coach.
Okay.
So he was basically like working talents for this federation, and he told. Sorry, I forgot the question.
It was like starting your training.
Was there a year that we could do? So basically, they were accepting talents by the age of 16 to work shows.
Oh, wow!
If you wanted to train before that, and you had the approval of your parents for sure, there would be a problem. So I started the trainings there at 14, but it came a deal of a television television show that we had back then, that they wanted to have a kid basically have his first wrestling show on TV for the hype of it.
Yeah, sure.
So and they were asking to train like a 12-year-old kid that didn't have any like trainings and everything. So my coach said, listen, we cannot do 12 at one. It's way too young.
Yeah.
And second, if he didn't have any whatsoever trainings before, it's gonna look like shit. So but I have this kid who is 15, which was me, and he could be ready to have his first match, like a little 5 minutes or whatsoever.
Sure.
He would do good for sure. So let's put him. So that's why I had my first match before 16 years old. But after that, it took a while before I really got into it on a regular basis.
Did you, after your first match, like what were you feeling like? Were you like excited? Were you like asking for people like, how did I do?
What's funny about it is like I said, it's for a television show. So I had like an interviewer with me, like following me from the minute I entered the venue until like it ended, pretty much. So I really got like a lot of memories, but on tape for that.
Yeah.
He actually waited for me backstage as soon as I passed the curtain, and he was like, "So how do you feel?" Like, so I basically had the first words coming out of my mouth is like, "There's no drug who's gonna beat that feeling."
Oh my
whatsoever.
God.
And which is true. Like,
I imagine
the adrenaline rush that it gives you, nothing's gonna compare to that for sure.
And do you ever go back and watch like your early stuff?
Oh no.
No. Okay. Oh, here, I don't want to forget this. Did your parents watch your first match?
Yeah, they were there live and everything. For the wrestling point of, for the television point of view, for sure, they wanted my parents to be there, so they went.
Yeah.
They were really supportive of it. Like I said, like they weren't fan at all. They never like really liked it or whatsoever. But just because I was a huge fan, my dad was coming with me to every wrestling show I asked to go to. And so they were super, super supportive for me. And I was always like really glad about it.
And so how old were you when you did you go on the road for the first time?
No, it took really long for that because, like I said,
because you were with NCW.
Yeah, I was with NCW, and when I started, when I was 16 years old, NCW was like one of the majors federation in Montreal, and in my head I couldn't do better anyway, even though I would go in some other places and everything. A couple years passed, and then. Because I actually started my trainings with Ever Rise right now at NXT though, which is Matt Martel and Chase Parker, and so basically Chase Parker. My first real match was against Chase, and so when they started they didn't want to stay only at NCW. They really want to go all over the place, so they started to get booked at IWS. Which was starting to be really popular in Montreal. And so I tried to follow them a bit, but I wasn't as talented maybe as they were. And so basically Manny, who is the IWS owner, didn't really see anything in me back then, which is kind of funny because I've been IWS champion since then, but it's lately, I mean. But so he didn't see anything. So I just thought to myself, maybe I'm better staying at NCW where people want me to be there.
Yeah.
And maybe put my mark in this place. So which I did. And after a while, I became to be more active on the administration council of the NCW, which I been the president for 3 years. So I was basically I touched the promoters side of the business for a couple of years, and that's what it leads me to 15 years later. I thought to myself, I did everything I had to do in this place, so that's when I decided to stop. And it's really starting from 5 years ago now that I started to go on the road on a regular basis, and maybe more getting booked more than once every 2 weeks. And now I started to have bookings on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe more or less.
Are things starting up again now?
Not at all.
No, it's
No, the government doesn't let us do anything right now. So we actually did some tapings with IWS because we're on a television stations called RDS.
Okay.
Which is basically the Sportsnet of Quebec.
Okay.
And so we're on that channel, and so we had to do because they let for a couple months, they maybe only 1 month, but they let the fighting sports trained in the groups of 4 people. So if you were 4 people and you don't mix with another group, you could train stuff. So we basically planned our way to go on these laws. And so we were able to do groups of 4. So we were all wrestling against each other and taping every match. So it basically gave him 3 months of tapings for the channel. But maybe the day after or a couple days after, they had too much cases, so they just shut down everything. So we cannot do anything.
Everything's on hold now.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you a question. So I think the last 2 years you've been on that PWI list.
Yeah.
Is that? I know it's really awesome, but is there pressure from that too?
Actually, I think it's gonna start being pressure now, because 2 years ago you would have told me that I would be on that list.
Yeah.
I would laugh at you. It wasn't something that I was thinking about. I never thought that it would be possible in my career that I would be my name would be on that list.
Yeah.
Now I've done it, which I was super happy about it. And but like I said, like the first year I was like in the 300s. Now I'm in the 400s. Like, and it's so like weird how you can get on that list. And like I feel like the victories and the losses are important in that list, which is kind of, I find it bizarre, because like it shouldn't be a question of who loses and wins. It's just like, is the match good or not?
Yeah.
So, and are you like somebody who does good matches like in general? And do you know, like, are you intelligent in the way you build your match? Are you good like in working the crowd? Are you popular on that side? Not are you like having more wins than loses?
Because that's like the last
more titles.
Like
yeah,
your record.
So, but yeah, I just don't know how they do their stuff. But
yeah, there's no formula.
I feel like the formula is really based, like, if it's not based on that, it gives a lot of credit to it, and I find it really weird. So I'm accepting the honor. I feel blessed about it. That's for sure. But but I think it's more important to people that doesn't know wrestling. That it's important to people who knows wrestling. So I'm gonna take it for sure. But if the next year I'm not in it because I didn't have enough titles this year, well, am I happy with my year? Am I happy with what I delivered in the ring? That's important. That's what's important for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to let your kids one day watch your matches online?
Well, man, that was something that I asked myself so much, man, and I never knew.
Like, can you hold out until they can see you live?
But because it's something that I'm proud of, you know. I've been working on that for 20 years of my life.
It's your craft.
But is it at the same time a good? Is it a good example for my kids? I don't know. It gets because the violence and everything. So but at the same time, it's athletic. It's kind of a sport, and it's an art. It's
absolutely.
It's a play, you know. So you need to make sure that she understands. I say she because I have two daughters, but I gotta make sure that they understand like the art the art part of it, you know. And it's not only like focusing on the violence that's surrounding it, but my oldest daughter saw me once, but because we were in we have a huge stand-up festival in Montreal every year, which is called Just for Laughs. And we did shows like in the outside on a big stage and everything. So I talked with my girlfriend about it, and we were like, maybe it's the right moment to bring her to see you wrestle, because since it's outside, she's not gonna be like disturbed by all the sounds and the music and everything, that if it's like in the empty
echoes.
And the echoes and everything. And if she really doesn't like it, I just like take her away and walk, somewhere else. But she actually really loved it. So
that's great.
But like I said, I'm never gonna push her into it. If she asks for it, I'll be there to surround her and make sure that we do it the right way. But at the end of the day, she's not like, if she doesn't want and doesn't seem interested in it, I won't push it.
Yeah, it's fair. Will you show them like stuff that you've done as a heel? Or
I won't have really a choice, because that's pretty much the biggest part of my act.
This is gonna be my last wrestling question. Is that a lot of fun being a heel?
Oh, it's the best.
It's the best.
It's actually the way I'm more comfortable in the ring. So a lot of people told me that it was natural with me to be a heel. So and every time I tried to be a face, it never worked. I really lose the flavor of my character. I'm not as edgy and everything, so it's kind of weird. I think now, because I started to be face a little bit more now, like let's say right now in IWS, technically I'm a face. It got better because I have more experience. For sure. So I know how to keep my flavor and maybe work my persona on another side. So I'm all open to like take me out of my comfort zone to maybe evaluate a bit more as a wrestler. But I prefer doing heel stuff. That's for sure.
Right. I'm going to let you go in 2 minutes, maybe even 60 seconds. I'm going to ask you 5 yes or no questions that are unrelated to wrestling. You can say yes, no, or you can elaborate. But don't. Most people don't elaborate, so don't feel pressure. Okay.
You're going to talk about magic cards? Or?
No, there's going to be nothing crazy or creepy. Okay. All right, first one. Can you function with under 5 hours of sleep?
Yes, but I'm not a nice person.
Okay. Have you ever drank coffee in the morning with vodka in it?
Nope.
Have you ever spit on a family member?
Nope.
For $1,700, would you watch the movie Sophie's Choice 3 times straight, all the way through, back to back, and you can have unlimited popcorn and 1 soda?
How long is the movie?
I imagine like 2 hours. Do you know? That was the other thing. Do you know what that movie is?
No, not at all.
It's. I think it has something to do with like Nazis, and like this woman was given a choice. We're gonna take one of your 2 children. Who is it gonna be?
Oh God!
It's like one of the most depressing movies.
Okay, and how much money we're talking about?
$1,700. So 6 hours straight.
For 1,700. Yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Okay, yeah, why not? Okay, finally. Have you ever watched the nightly news naked?
Nope.
Okay, all right, you passed. Hey, thank you so much for coming on and giving me your time. I really appreciate it. Do you want to like plug anything where you're coming up next or your business?
Well, right now, if you want to follow us on the social media, that will help a lot. If you want to follow me, it's just Benjamin Tull on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I have my company is basically Les Touriers. Sorry, it's a French name for sure. Fine. So it's LESTOURIERS at Les Touriers on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter again. That would really, I would appreciate to have some United States fan on my stuff. Sure.
And I'll make sure that it's up there for everyone to see.
All right, perfect. I just hope that the language barrier didn't
Listen, I married a Russian girl. I barely understand what her parents say. I don't even know if they're even trying to speak English half the time. Yeah. So I have my son is my translator because he speaks the language. All right, you go back to your little kids. Thank you again. Stay safe, and I'll definitely be in touch because I have a bunch more questions.
All right, cool. Thanks for having me. It was quite fun.
My pleasure. Thanks, Benjamin.
Have a good night.
You
Bye.
too.